Welcome to Keeping It Real, SRQ, with your host, Veronica and Jeremy Miller, and Tomi and Justin Knepp. Keeping It Real, SRQ is the show that shares what's happening in our local real estate market.
Okay, so let's talk about reality TV. Do you guys feel that the reality TV series that are out there on HGTV are skewing the buyers' perspectives?
100%, yes. They take a long, project and they push it into one episode, and so it's giving the home viewers, this false representation of what the actuality is.
It is only going to take 30 days.
Yes, 30 days is unrealistic. I mean, there's a whole series of events that have to take place, permitting, getting the contractors ready, all of these different situations that are involved, and it's definitely misrepresenting what it takes to flip a home in a certain time frame.
Oh,
absolutely.
And so many unexpectations.
Oh, yeah. And then, one of my favorites, and he knows it, I forget what show it is, but they have a budget, and then all of a sudden they always find something, and they have to go over budget. Mm-hmm. So there's so many things. It's for TV. It's for education.
Yes.
Absolutely. And right now, I've personally noticed that it's extremely hard to get any type of work done. I mean, they're backed
people that want to do the work.
Oh, they're so far behind that just to get them out there. So,
or they're waiting on supplies.
They are always waiting on supplies. Mostly like some of the windows, garage doors, things like that, like your big ticket items. Those are the ones. Obviously, you're going to be able to get your lights and things from your big box stores, but I've noticed that contractors are really hard to find right now.
Yeah, they are. Well, Florida is growing 1,000 people a day, and I firmly believe this: 1,000 people a day are moving to Florida. So this is the place to be.
It's competition right now.
Oh, it is
huge competition.
Yeah, and especially it's a seller's market, which means low on inventory. It'll be exciting when these houses are done, and we'll see what changes in the
with
what's not exciting is the traffic that comes with all the people moving to Florida.
Yeah, or
100%.
the non-infrastructure, but we won't go there.
They're changing things. They're moving things around, trying to make it better for us, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll enjoy that next roundabout. Thank you. Just kidding. But definitely, if you're interested in a home or flipping a home, reach out to one of us, because we can talk to you and help you, guide you through this process. And
absolutely.
What's on TV is made for TV.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Miller, and I'm really excited today to have Cynthia Riddell from the Riddell Law Group back on our show today. So talk to us a little bit about title insurance and what you do and what you need as a home buyer.
Okay, so we're in Florida, and Florida you can close with real estate attorneys that are typically title agents themselves or title companies. Certainly in my opinion, which of course I'm biased because I'm a real estate attorney, I always suggest that buyers work with a real estate attorney that's also going to be doing the title insurance work. Because what we do is similar to what a title company would do, which is pull a title search, examine the title to the property, look for mortgages that need to be paid off, confirm the seller is actually vested with title, and do all the things to clear title to issue that final clear policy to the buyer. What we can do in addition, of course, though, as attorneys is give legal advice, interpret contracts, work on issues that may come up in title. So, for instance, you might have an issue with your title search that comes back and says the seller is actually an estate of so-and-so. and not the person who signed your contract. And there may be a need for a probate administration. Oftentimes, attorneys that are working in real estate usually may have a referral source for that probate that's necessary, or may do it themselves. I do that personally myself. I do probate administration as well. So a lot of the times, working with an attorney who's doing your closing and issuing title insurance is preferable, because they have the ability to take care of issues that may come up directly without you having to go leave the title company and hire a separate attorney. The other nice thing is most real estate attorneys that act as title agents are very comparable in their price. Typically, people think attorney, they think, oh, well, that's going to cost a lot more money. Most attorneys that are locally in this business doing real estate closings are very competitive with their pricing, charging a certain settlement fee. Obviously, all title insurance rates are promulgated rates. They're promulgated by the legislature. So whether you go to ABC Title Company, Riddell Law Group, or some other real estate attorney, your title insurance premium is going to be your title insurance premium. So that's always a good thing too to ask for up front, is you can actually get a title quote. People call our office all the time. Realtors or prospective buyers may call our office and say, hey, I'm thinking I might buy this property. I think the price is going to be X. We are or are not getting a mortgage. We are able to give them an estimate of the actual cost for the title insurance and closing transaction. And I find that's always helpful.
So tell us, how does title insurance protect you in the long term from something like this happening?
So title insurance works as essentially an indemnity policy. When we issue title, we as agents for our title insurance underwriter are reviewing the title search, because what we're trying to do is clear certain conditions and clean up any issues that may appear on title and make sure transfers are correct, recording is done correctly. Those are all of our duties as a title agent, ultimately answering to our title insurance underwriter who we're issuing the policy under. And so it's important to have the title insurance policy because, again, working as an indemnity policy, different than your auto insurance or some type of life insurance sort of actuarial table, some risk in the future, we're essentially eliminating the risk from the past, and eliminating encumbrances and clouds on title that may appear during this title search. So ultimately, that policy is issued to, if the owner purchases an owner's title policy, it's issued to them, so that if there is an issue moving forward, there's typically going to be coverage, if they find, oh, so-and-so, the seller back in the chain of title, we actually needed a probate done of this 1/2 interest and it was never done, and somebody missed that back in the chain of title, you could make a claim under your policy and get that cleaned up through the title insurance underwriter, and essentially, you're covered for attorney fees and the costs of these certain cleanup type of title processes. For instance, I've seen one where one of every so often our claims administrator from our underwriter comes and talks to us about issues that come up. And I've seen in the past where someone, during that mortgage sort of foreclosure crisis, a lot of the lenders weren't sort of talking to each other, and there was one situation where a mortgage was paid off, and it was never satisfied of record, and they actually ended up starting a foreclosure on a satisfied mortgage.
Oh, wow.
And so, the claims counsel for the underwriter quickly got the claim, went to the agent, asked them in their file, provide me all this information. It shows the payment, the wire, paying off the mortgage, all of these things that were done correctly. And unfortunately, it was just bad paperwork. And luckily, they were able to resolve that without any litigation. But you can imagine somebody getting some sort of notice at this property they bought a couple, like a year ago. All of a sudden, somebody's foreclosing on them, and they don't recognize the names on this paperwork. And so it's a good thing that they have the policy, because they're able to call somebody immediately typically the call starts with the agent, and then the agent will go to the underwriter in the claims department, and then it'll get resolved. And that's the best thing about it. You're talking about someone's, typically most people may buy a house a handful of times during their life, and it's the most important asset in their life. And that's why I believe title insurance is the best purchase you can make in your closing transaction.
And so title insurance isn't required.
No, owner's title insurance when you're purchasing is not required, but I strongly recommend it. In fact, I don't particularly like to take on closings where an owner's title insurance policy is not going to be issued. Typically, if there's financing involved, there's a simultaneously issued loan policy to the lender. Most lenders are going to require that you buy title insurance for them. That basically ensures they have a first position lien on their property. So a borrower who's getting a mortgage will always have to purchase a loan policy. But it makes sense when they're issued simultaneously, you actually get a discount. You don't pay full price for both an owner's and a loan policy that's issued simultaneously. So to me, that's kind of a no-brainer. If you're a borrower and coming out of pocket for your lender for protection, why wouldn't you come out of pocket for protection for you?
Thank you again, Cynthia, for walking us through the real estate process, and we hope to have you on the show again soon.
All right, I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Hi, it's Veronica Brandon Miller, and I am super excited. I am here with Cindy Winning with Premier Home Watch. And if you're living in Florida, you definitely know what a home watch company does. But what I'm excited to learn is why it's important, even though I already know. But now you're going to know. So welcome.
Thank
you. Look
you.
Fabulous.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And I mention this every time, but for 10 years of my life, I've worked for the National Safety Council and the Home Safety Council. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that has to do with the security and safety of the home.
Paramount.
Right.
Yes, paramount.
But when you're not here, what you don't know can hurt you.
Very much
right?
so. Very much. If you consider yourself a seasonal homeowner, here, you go back to Ohio, Wisconsin, wherever you're wintering here, you're leaving that property by itself for a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. Two things that are going to cost you the most and hurt you the most financially is mold.
Oh, yes.
And water damage. It happens so quickly. It can happen 3 weeks after you leave. And if nobody's looking at your property, that
absolutely.
damage is astronomical.
I was just interviewing someone from Aqua Plumbing and Air, mm-hmm. and they were talking about that. Especially, people think, I'm going to close up my house. It'll be fine for 6 months.
Right.
That is a breeding ground for mold.
Yes.
And I never thought about that, but that is true.
Yes, and mold remediation is expensive.
Very.
You want to catch it as early as you can. Mm-hmm. Mold can happen. Florida is a mold breeding ground.
Yep.
Especially
Yay.
October, I know.
And we have palm trees. That's good.
Yeah, yes we do. Yes we do. But it's checking on that house is paramount to keeping that damage caught early.
Caught early, and also you might not know. You come in, for your 6 months here, mm-hmm. and you turn on the lights, everything's fine, you go to bed, and you're like, oh my God, I don't feel well. But you're like, it must be jet lag, whatever it may be, and then it builds up over time. So having someone go in, and what do? You check?
We're checking all the parameters, looking for evidence of mold, and we all know where that happens. It happens in a moisture environment, so your bathrooms are under your sinks, baseboard areas, wherever there could be a buildup of. If you're in a condo and the residents above you have a leak,
God, yeah.
that can slowly creep into your unit. Yep. And so we're looking up at the ceiling to see if there's any water spotting showing up. It's not your property, it's somebody else's that's causing damage.
Yeah, but you're the victim now.
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
And, it's not just inside the house, exterior.
Correct.
Like, let's think of the car.
Yes. And, a lot of people do leave their vehicles here, mm-hmm. and I think it's a smart thing to do. Mm-hmm. They leave a vehicle here so that they can, get around for the 6 months or more that they're staying. a lot of people are under the misconception you just run your car. You just turn the engine on and run it and it charges the battery. Not so much. It actually needs to go into gear and be driven for 15 minutes to adequately keep that battery charged. So that is a concierge service that's available through Premier Home Watch.
Oh,
that you can add on.
That is so important. My father was a snowbird coming back and forth and left a vehicle, and he's bringing his RV, so he's coming and he's like, oh, I have to go to the store. Let me go to Publix. Gets in the car. It's dead. And it's like, what are you kidding? And that he was only here, gone for 3 months, but those 3 months, that's what happened.
That can do it.
And then it ruins your entire day.
Yes.
So let's not ruin your day.
Let's not do that.
Too funny. So, and then you do other things.
Yes. We check it on your freezer and refrigerator. You'd be surprised. They can break down or stop operating properly. So a fun trick is you can take a glass of water and put it in the freezer and put a coin on top. If I come back and keep checking that, if that coin is dropping down into that frozen water, I know there's a problem with the performance of that freezer and refrigerator. So you may have left behind some things that that could stay in the freezer for months and months until you got back. Not so much. It's not performing at proper level. So that's an interesting one you might not think of. And the pool, if you have a pool and you have a pool service, well, pool service knows you're gone.
Right.
So instead of coming like they said they were coming, sorry, pool service people, but sometimes it happens. They don't always stay on track, and it starts to turn green. And now it's a big issue to get that cleaned up. And
then if you have HOA,
yes,
forget that. Same with the lawn service. So having someone check and make sure that your home is well maintained and free of debris. And, speaking of debris, it's coming into hurricane season.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we have palm trees.
Yes, we do.
We have a lot of bad things, but we have palm trees.
Yes, hurricane season is an issue. I mean, you have a lanai, and a branch breaks through the lanai. And, these are things that need to be looked after quickly before they start ripping in the wind and getting worse.
Getting worse. And I've had that.
Critters coming in.
Oh, yeah, we've had that.
Have you? Yes.
It just takes that one storm.
You get on social media, and we've got gators showing up at people's doors that are getting through lanai. So especially if you're in a property that has,
It has to get past my palm tree, though.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, I love it. And your website's at the bottom here. So definitely, feel free to call Cindy if you have questions about this, or you're interested in purchasing at home. I can help you and then hook you up with Cindy.
There you go. Good teamwork, don't you think?
Right, exactly.
I think so. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being on.
I appreciate it.
Very helpful.
Good. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, Sarasota. Today we are going to be talking about investments. Sometimes I know you want to put a house on a portfolio, and maybe it's not eligible to get a loan. So a lot of people will go ahead and get a hard money loan or a personal loan.
So what is a hard money loan?
That is a great question. A hard money loan is typically for the houses that you want to purchase, and they just won't be eligible by a bank. This is a good solution that you can go out, get an interest, or it's a higher interest loan that will allow you to purchase a house that might be in distress. Typically, it's going to be companies that don't have as many regulations as banks would, or you could do, of course, the personal loan, but we'll go into the hard money loans at this point.
So tell me, how do you find a hard money lender?
That is a fabulous question as well. So one of the things that I have done is joined a lot of social media groups, and they have a lot of people that flip homes and stuff that will share the information, and you just go into these forums and ask, who have you used in the past? And it's always good to have somebody that has used a company before. There are companies out there, you want to be very careful. Make sure it's someone that's trusted, that has been used in the past, that that could be vouched for. So that would be the first way that I would go about finding a hard money lender.
Absolutely. So when you do find a lender, what questions do you ask?
One of the first things you want to ask a hard money lender is the terms. Typically, you're going to want to stay around the 6 to 12 months. There's going to be a lot of options that they're going to give you, but just starting out, knowing that this is your first flip, you're going to kind of want to take the easier loan availability, and also what the interest rates are. As of now, they range from all over the place, anywhere from 8 to 12%, and they could be more, they could be less, according or whoever you talk to, or as you know, things are changing with the interest rates.
Absolutely. Now, how much are you allowed to borrow?
Typically, they will allow you to borrow around 75 to 80%, and that all determines on the condition of the house, how you're obtaining the house. Is it a house that has been given to you? If you're purchasing it as a distressed home, they will usually only give you 75 to 80% of what you paid for it. So, of course, you're going to have to go out and try to find a little extra money to make up that difference. So you're still going to have to bring some money to the table, unfortunately.
So can you tell me, how do the payments work on paying a loan back?
Absolutely. With the hard money loans, you're always going to have to pay month to month, and that's going to be interest only. They might have some variations out there, but definitely understand that at the end of the time frame that you need this money, ask them, is there any payment penalties for paying it off early? So let's say you do the 6 months and you only needed it for 3. That's a very good thing to keep in mind. Make sure you know exactly what you're getting yourself into with the hard money lenders. Also, they do sometimes charge points as well. Each point is a percent. So make sure when you are shopping around, you want to make sure that you're adding up all the fees and everything to know that you're getting the best lender at the best price.
That's important. That's a really key component to be aware of, for sure.
Yep.
So I know hard money loans, are out there for, investors, but I know there's also personal loans. So can you tell me a little bit about personal loans, how they work?
Absolutely. Personal loans is just kind of what that is. It's people that you personally know. You may not have to do certain things as far as hard money lender might still require an appraisal and a survey. And if you do the personal loans, you might be able to get around some, cost savings there to do that. You can group people together, like let's say you have a group of friends that have always been interested in doing flips. That's a great way to get those, friends and family together and possibly go out and do your first flip. You really want to make sure that everyone is on board to make sure everything that you guys promised with the money that you're using is being used for that. Possibly create, a separate bank account, something that everyone knows that where the money is being held at. You always want to make sure up front with your partners is something that could turn out great. You have your personal lender or your personal finance like that. It's going to allow you to do possibly more houses in the future.
So say I want to do an investment. Do I have to get my credit pulled?
That's a great question. For either of these options, you do not have to get your credit pulled. Just like with the personal and the hard money, they're going to look at that asset as the backing of the loan. So let's say worst case scenario, something goes wrong and you don't get the house finished, or the bank or the hard money lenders need that money back. They're going to take over that home, that house. So one of the good things is they don't pull your credit. You're not going to have a hard inquiry on that. You can get the money as quick as 2 weeks, sometimes a little sooner. And so you'll be able to get the money within 2 weeks. That will allow you to be more aggressive when purchasing properties. You can go in and say, we can close within 2 weeks, or whatever's convenient for you. So it's always good to have those options, and hopefully that'll get you guys started on your first flip. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to email us. We can do what we can to help. And don't forget, check out the social media groups if you're wanting to get into it. Start asking questions, maybe even travel alongside some of the flippers that are currently out there. Maybe they can give you some tips as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you.
At Premier Home Watch, we provide the peace of mind you want, knowing your home is being properly looked after in your absence.
Taboo.